Welcome back, dear viewers, and thank you for joining me once again as we dive into yet another moment that has set the entire K-entertainment world on fire. Today's story has taken over timelines, trended across platforms, and stirred hearts everywhere because Yoona, our radiant queen, always poised, always elegant, was asked a simple question about Lee Junho, and her response did more than just go viral. It broke the internet, not because she said something scandalous, but because of the pure, unmistakable emotion that flickered across her face before she even spoke. A blush, a spark, a softness that fans have replayed endlessly, screenshot endlessly, and dissected endlessly. And now we're going to explore exactly why this moment has captured so much attention and what it means for this pair that fans already can't stop rooting for. It all began during a casual media interaction, the kind of brief Q&A moment idols and actors experience dozens of times throughout their careers. Yoona was glowing in her usual graceful way, answering questions about her project, her inspirations, her schedule, the usual safe topics. The atmosphere was light, friendly, and entirely predictable until a reporter, smiling a little too knowingly, asked the question millions of fans secretly wished someone would ask. What do you think about the way Leo talks about you? It was a harmless question on the surface, but everyone knew the layers beneath. The chemistry between these two stars has been a talking point for months, linked to on-screen affection, behind-the-scenes warmth, joint appearances, subtle smiles, and that certain something neither of them ever quite explains away. The moment the question left the reporter's mouth, the room shifted. Yoona, who normally handles even the trickiest questions with smooth, airy confidence, froze for just a fraction of a second. And then it happened. The blush, a flush of warmth across her cheeks, subtle but unmistakable, blooming like someone had caught her off guard in the sweetest way possible. Fans watching the clip slowed it down, zoomed in, highlighted the exact millisecond it appeared. It wasn't a reaction she could control. It was genuine, organic, emotional. It was something you don't see from her unless someone really touches her heart. And then came the moment that pushed the internet over the edge. Her smile. Not her usual poised smile. Not her polite stage smile, but a smile so soft, so shy, so unfiltered that it told the story long before her words even arrived. You could almost feel her scrambling inwardly, trying to gather the right balance of honesty and subtlety, trying not to reveal too much, but also unable to hide the emotional ripple that Juno's name created in her. She looked down for a moment, a gesture fans immediately screen-capped for its sweetness, then looked back up with a spark in her eyes that seemed to betray more than she intended to show. And finally, she answered. Her voice was calm, but there was no hiding the warmth behind it. Junho always speaks kindly. I'm grateful for that. It was a simple sentence, but her tone wasn't simple at all. It carried affection, sincerity, a quiet admiration she didn't attempt to mask. For someone who has mastered the art of maintaining privacy, her expression in that moment spoke louder than anything she could ever verbalize. Fans erupted instantly. Comments poured in by the thousands. The clip spread across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, every possible corner of the internet. People replayed it, analyzed it, wrote captions like, "This is not acting. We caught her. And Yoona is in her soft girl era because of Junho." Others pointed out how Yoona rarely blushes publicly, saying this reaction felt too real, too instinctive, too emotionally charged to be brushed aside. Even casual fans who never paid attention to the pairing were drawn into the moment because of how deeply human it was. An honest, involuntary reaction that made her feel both closer and more relatable. But why did this tiny moment explode the way it did? It's because the relationship between Lee Junho and Yoona has always hovered in this delicate gray space, somewhere between undeniable chemistry and carefully guarded privacy. Their interactions have never been dramatic or overly intimate. Instead, they're filled with subtlety, lingering glances, quiet laughter, and an emotional synergy that feels effortless. For two stars known for professionalism, their connection stands out because it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. It feels warm. It feels like something that continues even when the cameras stop rolling. And that's why this blush matters. It wasn't staged. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't part of a script or a promotional schedule. It was a human reaction sparked by someone who clearly holds a unique place in her heart. Junho, known for his sincerity, deep emotional intelligence and quietly expressive nature, has always spoken highly of Yoona. He compliments not just her talent but her character, her kindness, the way she treats everyone around her. He looks at her with an admiration that fans pick up on instantly. So for Yoona to finally have a moment where her feelings seem to surface unintentionally, it felt like balance, a matching energy, proof that affection may not be one-sided at all. As the internet continued buzzing, more clips resurfaced. Juno looking at Yoona with that soft gaze. Yoona laughing at Juno's jokes a little too freely. Their shared glances during award shows. Their comfortable physical closeness. The small silent exchanges that scream familiarity. Fans stitched past moments with this new clip and captioned it like a puzzle, finally coming together. It all makes sense now. One user wrote, "She likes him. You can't convince me otherwise." Another commented, "We've seen Juno's affection for months. Today, we finally saw hers." What makes this moment even more beautiful is that it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't a bold declaration. It was small, delicate, and completely unguarded. Sometimes the most powerful moments aren't the loud ones. They're the quiet ones. The blush you can't hide. The smile you don't plan. The look you didn't expect anyone to notice. These are the moments that reveal truth without needing to say much at all. In the hours after the interview, Yoona's name and Junho's name trended together. In multiple countries, fans posted edits pairing her blush with Junho's sweetest moments. Others wrote long posts about how beautiful emotional transparency can be, how refreshing it is to see two celebrities who don't manipulate their chemistry for publicity, but simply exist in a dynamic that feels genuine. People began imagining what a real-life relationship between them would look like: calm, warm, steady, rooted in mutual respect and admiration. And even though neither of them confirmed anything outright, they didn't need to. This wasn't about labels. It wasn't about announcements. It wasn't even about rumors. It was about the tenderness of a fleeting expression, the magic of authenticity, the softness of a moment that broke through the polished walls idols often have to maintain. For longtime fans, this moment was everything they'd been waiting for. A sign, however small, that the connection they sensed between Yoona and Junho wasn't all imagination. For new fans, it was an introduction to a pairing that feels captivating in its simplicity and sincerity. And for the general public, it was a reminder that even the biggest stars, hearts that respond without calculation. Whether or not Yoona and Juno ever confirm anything publicly, moments like this remind us why these two continue to captivate audiences. Their bond, whatever shape it takes, feels grounded in something more than performance. Something unspoken, something real, something that made Yoona blush in a way even she couldn't hide. And that is why the internet broke. Not because of drama, but because of softness. Not because of scandal, but because of sincerity. Not because of confirmation, but because of possibility. A blush can tell a story. And this one told a story the whole world is now eager to follow.